got a great view of the desert. That's where we're heading to. We've got our camels getting ready, and the whole gang is ready to go spend the night in the desert.
Storytelling is such an essential part of who we are as people. We love to tell stories. We love to hear stories throughout, human existence. That's been true. For me, visual storytelling is incredibly impactful. Both the art of crafting a story and then sharing that with someone and seeing how it opens their eyes. I had always had such an amazing experience traveling as a woman by myself in the Middle East and North Africa, which most people would find a contradiction. And that's what a lot of the narrative in the news had been. Oh, it's scary to go as a woman. It's so different on the ground than you would ever imagine. I'd been working with writers, writing my own articles, trying to tell these stories, but having a photo, I could do something with the camera that I couldn't do with all the writing I had done before. I had this moment when we went up to the northern part of Pakistan, and I remember waking up my first morning there. You've got these massive peaks around you, you're at 10,000 feet, and seeing the daily life of how people live and just thinking, it's so different than what I had known of Pakistan. There are all these untold stories to tell, all these perspectives that I could change just through the pictures I was taking. I'm a recovering Egyptologist. That was my first career, was archaeology and Egyptology. That's where my love for the Middle East really started and came from. I did a personal project in Egypt during the Arab Spring on the street art movement. It's a massive city, and during the Arab Spring, there were so many protests, streets that were cut off. Some days it would be hard to go to the grocery store, or lights would turn off. You would think it would be the hardest place in the world for me to find community, but just there on the internet, I could, during the day or in the evening, learn something, and then the very next day, go out and apply it. CreativeLive gave me this community of people all over the world to connect with. And I could talk to other photographers, other students who are having similar challenges with their work. It was just like home. It was that piece that I was missing. My project was called War on Walls, very complex art that they were doing, and no one was really documenting it. I had a lot of knowledge in the subject matter because they were using a lot of ancient Egyptian iconography, and I really understood the art, and it was amazing stuff, and it wasn't being documented. National Geographic saw it and said, hey, we'd love to run this in a piece we're doing. You do one thing and then it opens a whole bunch of doors, and it's not necessarily a straight line. I was doing all this work over the last couple of years of my career, telling stories, telling complex stories, and from different perspectives and different angles. And so even though I'd never shot opera before, it was about storytelling. They needed someone to come in and help them better tell the story of what they do. I shoot everything from behind the scenes stuff to documenting how we're building an opera. My background in street photography, in having to photograph on the fly, in very quickly changing, very dynamic situations while trying to tell a story has really helped me at the opera, because a lot of times I'm capturing things as they're unfolding. I'm not just trying to take pretty pictures, all my images need to tell a story. Now I'm running my photography and videography business, and I run archaeo-adventure tours. Whether I'm doing a commercial job or an editorial job or even portraits for people, it all comes back to what's the story. And so I've spent many years as a photographer learning, growing my craft. I'd master something and then I'd realize there were 80 other things I'd had to learn. You know, the doors just kept opening wider and wider as I learned more. If you stay the course, if you do the work and you put in the time, you will get there.